Most people reach the end of the month carrying more than they realize. Not just unfinished tasks, not just deadlines or numbers, but quiet weight. Conversations that linger, mistakes replayed, expectations unmet, small disappointments that were never acknowledged. And instead of releasing any of it, they move forward, dragging it all into the next cycle, layering stress upon stress until even rest begins to feel heavy. But there is another way to end a month, a way that is softer, yet stronger, a way that clears rather than accumulates, a way that asks you not to push harder but to pause. Right now, allow yourself to arrive fully in this moment, not in what still needs to be done, not in what should have been done, but here, feel the subtle rhythm of your breath. Notice how it moves without force, without demand. Let that be your guide. This is your reset. At the end of each month, there is a quiet invitation, a closing of a chapter that does not ask for perfection, only awareness. Yet most people skip it. They rush ahead, believing that progress is only found in constant motion. But true clarity comes in stillness, growth deepens in reflection, and renewal begins the moment you choose to let go. So begin there. Let go of what did not go as planned. Bring to mind something that didn't unfold the way you hoped. Maybe it was a goal you didn't reach, a habit you couldn't maintain, a moment where you felt you fell short. Notice how quickly the mind wants to judge, to criticize, to tighten around that memory. Now, soften. What if that moment was not failure but feedback? What if it was simply part of the path, not a deviation from it? Allow the grip around it to loosen. You do not need to carry it forward as a burden. You can choose to carry only the lesson, and even that, lightly. Let go of the need to replay it. Let go of the need to fix it right now. Let it settle. Now let go of what you cannot control. There are things that happened this month that were never in your hands. The actions of others, the timing of events, circumstances that shifted without warning. And yet, how often do we hold on to these things as if by thinking about them enough, we could change them? Notice where resistance still lives within you, and gently release it. You are not meant to hold the weight of everything. You are meant to respond, not to carry. As you breathe out, imagine that weight leaving your body. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually, naturally. As if it was never meant to stay, let go of the stories you've been telling yourself. I'm behind. I'm not enough. I should have done more. These are not truths. They are patterns. And patterns can be seen, and once seen, they can be released. You are not behind. You are on a path that unfolds in its own time. You are not lacking. You are learning. You have not wasted time. You have lived it. Let those words dissolve. Now, shift gently from letting go to giving thanks. Gratitude is not about ignoring difficulty. It is about recognizing the full picture. It is about seeing what was present, even in the midst of challenge. Think back over this month again, but this time, look for what supported you. Maybe it was something small, a moment of laughter, a kind message, a quiet evening where you finally felt at ease. Maybe it was something you did, even if no one else noticed. A step forward, a moment of courage, a decision to keep going. Let that come into your awareness, and instead of brushing past it, pause, feel it. Gratitude is not rushed. It expands when you give it space. Allow yourself to truly appreciate it. As if it matters, because it does. Now, widen your perspective. There were things that worked out, even if imperfectly. Things that held together when they could have fallen apart. Things that aligned in ways you didn't expect. Acknowledge them. There were also challenges that strengthened you. Even if you wouldn't have chosen them, they shaped you. They revealed something about your patience, your resilience, your ability to adapt. Thank them, not because they were easy, but because they contributed to who you are becoming. And now, something deeper. Offer gratitude to yourself, not for being perfect, but for being present. For showing up in the ways you could, for continuing even when it was difficult, for trying again, even after moments of doubt. So often, we wait for external recognition, forgetting that the most important acknowledgement is the one we give ourselves. Place your attention gently on your heart and simply recognize you made it through this month. That is enough to honor. Stay here for a moment, breathing in, receiving, breathing out, releasing. Now, from this place of lightness and gratitude, turn gently toward what comes next. A new month does not require a new version of you. It simply invites a clearer one. Ask yourself quietly, what do I want to carry forward? Not everything. Only what feels aligned. Perhaps it is a sense of calm. Perhaps it is a commitment to one small habit. Perhaps it is a mindset, a willingness to be kinder to yourself. More patient, more present. Let it arise naturally without force. And just as importantly, ask, what will I leave behind? Not out of rejection, but out of understandings. Some things have served their purpose. They do not need to come with you. As you breathe, feel that gentle transition, the closing of one cycle, the opening of another. No pressure, no urgency, just a quiet shift. You are not starting from zero. You are continuing with awareness, and that makes all the difference. Before you move on from this moment, take one more breath slowly in and out. Notice how you feel now compared to when you began. Lighter, perhaps. Clearer, more grounded. This is the power of pausings. This is the power of resetting. It does not require hours. It does not require perfection. It only requires willingness, a willingness to let go, a willingness to give thanks. A willingness to begin again, not as someone new, but as someone more aware. As the days of the new month unfold, you may forget this feeling. That's natural. Life will fill in again. Responsibilities will return. Momentum will build. But now you know that you can come back to this at any moment. Not just at the end of the month, but whenever you need it. A breath, a pause, a release. A quiet acknowledgement of what is and what no longer needs to be held. And in that simple act, you reset. Not by doing more, but by carrying less. Not by striving harder, but by seeing clearly. Not by becoming someone else, but by returning to yourself. So as you step forward, do so gently, with intention. Not pressure, with awareness, not urgency. And with the quiet understanding that every ending is also a beginning. If you allow it to be, because the truth is, the reset you are looking for is never out there, waiting at the perfect time. It is here, in this moment. Whenever you choose to pause, to release, and to begin again, and that is always available to you. *30-second hook. What if I told you that the reason you feel overwhelmed, stuck, or behind has nothing to do with how much you are doing and everything to do with what you're carrying? Every single month, without realizing it, most people drag stress, regret, and mental clutter into the next chapter of their lives and call it normal. But what if, instead of pushing forward exhausted, you could reset completely in just a few moments? Tonight, you're going to learn how to let go of what's been weighing you down and step into the next month, lighter, clearer, and more in control than ever before. Continue gently from where you are, without feeling the need to rush ahead. There is a quiet power in staying present a little longer than usual. Most people touch stillness briefly and then return to noise. But if you remain here just a bit longer, you begin to notice something deeper. Beneath the surface of thoughts, beneath the constant movement of doing and reacting, there is a steady awareness that does not change with circumstances. Rest in that awareness. Notice how everything that happened this past month, every success, every mistake, every unexpected turn, has already passed. It exists now only as memory, as impression. Yet the part of you that witnessed it all is still here, unchanged, steady, present. This is where your reset truly begins, not in changing everything outside of you, but in reconnecting with what has always been stable within you. Allow yourself to observe your thoughts as they arise without attaching to them. A memory may come. Let it pass. A feeling may surface. Let it move through you. You don't need to hold on, and you don't need to push anything away. This practice of allowing is the foundation of release. And as you continue, you may notice resistance. A part of you may want to go back, to rethink something, to hold on to a moment a little longer. That's natural. The mind is used to holding, to controlling, to trying to make sense of everything. But gently remind yourself, you don't need to resolve everything tonight. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to create space. Space for clarity, space for rest, space for something new to enter. Feel how different that is from forcing change. Now, bring your attention to the idea of identity, the version of yourself you carried through this past month. There were roles you played, expectations you tried to meet, perhaps even pressures you placed on yourself to be a certain kind of person. Take a moment to see that clearly, and then ask yourself quietly, which parts of that identity feel true, and which parts feel heavy? Not everything you carried was essential. Some of it was habit, some of it was fear. Some of it was simply repetition of old patterns. You are allowed to outgrow those patterns. You are allowed to release roles that no longer feel aligned. You are allowed to redefine how you show up, not dramatically, not all at once, but gently, intentionally. This is another layer of the reset, not just letting go of events, but letting go of versions of yourself that no longer serve you. And as you do that, something important happens. You create room for authenticity, for simplicity, for ease. Now, return once more to gratitude, but this time, let it go deeper than moments or outcomes. Feel gratitude for your capacity to be aware, for your ability to pause, even now, for the fact that you can observe your own patterns, your own thoughts, your own habits, and choose differently. That is not something to overlook. Many move through life unconsciously, repeating the same cycles without ever stepping back to reflect. But here you are, choosing awareness. That alone shifts everything. Let that realization settle. You are not stuck in cycles. You are becoming conscious of them, and awareness is the first step toward change. Now, as you gently begin to sense the transition into a new month, notice if there is any subtle pressure building. A pressure to do better, to be more productive, to fix everything. If you feel that, soften it. Growth does not require tension. Progress does not require pressure. What if this next month wasn't about becoming more, but about becoming clearer? Clearer in your priorities, clearer in your energy, clearer in what truly matters to you. Often, the exhaustion people feel is not from doing too much, but from doing too much that doesn't align. So instead of asking, "What should I add?" ask, "What can I simplify?" Instead of asking, "How can I push harder?" ask, "Where can I move with more ease?" These small shifts create a completely different experience. And now, bring your attention to time itself. A month feels long when you are in it, but once it passes, it seems brief. This is the nature of time. It moves steadily, whether you are aware of it or not. But awareness changes your relationship with it. When you pause like this, you step out of unconscious movement and into intentional living. You begin to see time not as something slipping away, but as something you are actively participating in. And that changes how you move forward. There is less rushing, less grasping, more presence, more clarity, more choice. Feel into that. You are not chasing time. You are moving with it. Now, imagine stepping into the first day of the new month, not with urgency, not with a long list of expectations, but with a quiet sense of direction. You don't need to have everything planned. You only need to be aligned with the next step, just the next one. Let that be enough. And if at any point during the coming days you feel overwhelmed again, remember this moment. Remember that you can pause, that you can breathe, that you can release what you are holding. Even in the middle of everything, you don't have to wait until the end of another month. You can reset anytime. That is your power, not control over everything that happens, but the ability to return to yourself. Again and again, stay with that understanding for a moment. Let it settle into you. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can always come back to clarity, no matter how far things seem to drift. And that confidence is not loud. It does not need to prove anything. It simply exists, steady and reliable. Now take a slightly deeper breath. Feel your body again. The physical presence of where you are, the contact between you and the ground beneath you, the natural rhythm of your breathing. This is your anchor. No matter what happens in the next month, this is always here, and returning to this again and again will keep you grounded, will keep you steady, will keep you clear. As this moment begins to come to a close, there is nothing you need to force, nothing you need to hold onto tightly. Just carry a gentle awareness forward, an awareness of what you've released, an awareness of what you appreciate, an awareness of how you want to move, not perfectly, but intentionally. Let that be enough. And if the mind tries to complicate things again, bring it back to something simple. Breathe in, breathe out, let go. Give thanks. Begin again. There is a rhythm in that. A rhythm that does not depend on circumstances. A rhythm that you can return to at any time. And the more you return to it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you no longer feel like you are constantly catching up or falling behind. You simply feel present, steady, clear. Moving forward, not with force, but with awareness. And that is where real change happens, not in dramatic shifts, but in consistent, quiet resets like this one. So, as you step into what comes next, do so lightly. Not empty, but unburdened. Not perfect, but aware. Not certain of everything, but connected to yourself. And trust that this is enough, because it always has been. Let yourself remain in this quiet unfolding, without trying to reach an end point. There is no final destination in this moment, only a continued softening, a continued awareness that gently expands as you stay with it. Notice how the mind may still try to grasp onto something, to define, to summarize, to conclude. That is its habit. It wants clarity in the form of certainty. But there is another kind of clarity, one that does not come from having all the answers, but from being fully present without needing them. Rest in that kind of clarity. Lob things to be open. Lob this moment to be enough, just as it is. And as you stay here, you may begin to notice the space between your thoughts. Not the thoughts themselves, but the gaps. The quiet pauses where nothing is being said internally. These spaces are subtle, easy to overlook, but they are always there. Gently bring your awareness to those spaces, not by forcing silence, but by noticing what is already present. In those small gaps, there is no pressure, no expectation, no identity to maintain. There is simply awareness. And the more you notice it, the more accessible it becomes. Now, consider how often your days are filled with constant input. Conversations, notifications, responsibilities, distractions. One thing after another. Rarely do we give ourselves permission to simply be. Without adding something new, this moment is different. Nothing new is being added. You are not consuming, achieving, or producing. You are simply aware, and that alone begins to reset something deep within you. Feel the difference between doing and being. Doing has its place, but being is where you reconnect. And without that connection, doing becomes exhausting. So allow yourself to stay in being just a little longer. Now, gently bring to mind the idea of control. Notice how much energy is often spent trying to control outcomes, situations, even other people. It can be subtle, wanting things to go a certain way, expecting certain responses, trying to ensure that everything aligns with your plans. But control is often where tension begins. Not because it is wrong to plan or to care, but because not everything can be shaped according to expectation. Take a moment to feel where control shows up within you, and then, without resistance, begin to soften that grip. Not by giving up on what matters to you, but by allowing space for uncertainty. By recognizing that not everything needs to be decided right now. By trusting that you can respond to whatever comes, rather than needing to predict or prevent it all. Feel how that changes your body. Control tightens, trust softens, and within that softness, there is more room to breathe. Now, return again to your breath. Notice how it continues without effort. You are not managing every inhale, not forcing every exhale. There is a natural intelligence within your body that knows how to sustain you. Let that be a reminder. Not everything requires your constant effort. Some things can be allowed, some things can unfold. Now, bring your awareness to your inner dialogue once more, not to silence it completely, but to observe its tone. Is it supportive? Is it critical? Is it rushing? Or is it calm? So often, the way we speak to ourselves becomes the atmosphere we live in. And if that atmosphere is tense, demanding, or harsh, it affects everything: our energy, our decisions, our sense of peace. But here, in this moment, you have the ability to shift that tone gently, without force. If you notice tension in your thoughts, soften them. If you notice criticism, balance it with understanding, not artificially, but honestly. You are allowed to be both aware of where you can improve and kind to yourself at the same time. These are not opposites. They can exist together. Now, imagine carrying that tone with you into the next month. A tone that is steady, supportive, aware, not perfect, not always consistent, but more conscious. That alone changes how you experience everything. Now, let your awareness expand slightly outward. Notice the environment around you, even if you are not looking directly at it. The subtle sounds, the stillness or movement in the air, the sense of space. You are part of this environment, not separate from it. And just as you are resetting internally, there is a larger rhythm around you that is always in motion. Days turning into nights, weeks passing into months, seasons shifting. Even if slowly, you are within that rhythm. Not ahead of it, not behind it, within it. Let that perspective settle. You do not need to rush to keep up. You are already moving with life. Now, return once more to the idea of release, but this time make it even simpler. Instead of identifying specific things to let go of, allow yourself to release generally. On your next exhale, imagine letting go of anything you are holding unnecessarily. No need to name it, just release. And again. A soft letting go, and again. Each breath out, a small clearing. This is something you can do anytime. Not just in reflection, but in the middle of your day. A single conscious exhale can shift more than you realize. Now, feel the cumulative effect of everything you've allowed so far. The letting go, the gratitude, the awareness, the softening. It may not feel dramatic, but it is real. And it is enough. Now, gently consider how you move forward from here, not in terms of actions, but in terms of presence. Can you carry a small part of this awareness into your next conversation, into your next decision, into the way you respond to something unexpected? You don't need to maintain all of it, just a small part. Because even a small amount of awareness changes the quality of your experience. And over time, that small part grows naturally. Now, bring your attention once more to your sense of self, not the roles, not the responsibilities, but simply the feeling of being you. There is a simplicity to it when you strip away everything else, just awareness, just presence. And in that simplicity, there is less pressure to perform, to prove, to constantly improve. There is space to simply exist. And from that space, your actions become more intentional, not more forced. Now, as this moment continues to unfold, allow yourself to feel a quiet sense of appreciation again. Not for something specific this time, but for the ability to pause like this at all. For the fact that you can step out of constant movement and into awareness. For the fact that you can reset. Not just at the end of a month, but whenever you choose. That is not something to overlook. That is something to value. Now, gently begin to sense the transition again, not as an ending, but as a continuation. You are not leaving this state behind. You are simply carrying it forward in a lighter way. Less focused on holding onto it perfectly, more open to returning to it when needed, and that makes it sustainable. Because anything you try to hold on to tightly becomes another form of tension. But something you can return to freely becomes a source of support. So let this be something you return to, again and again, without pressure, without expectation, just a simple remembering, a pause, a breath, a release, a quiet acknowledgement, and then continuing forward, not as someone who has everything figured out, but as someone who is aware